Please invite you to take your seats. We will be commencing the program shortly. Thank you for your cooperation. Ladies and gentlemen, may we please invite you to take your seats. We will be commencing the program shortly. Thank you for your cooperation.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. If you are not yet in the room, we are asking that you make your way to Ballroom 1. If you are in the lobby outside, please join us in Ballroom 1. We do intend to start shortly, and we cannot start without all of your lovely presences in the room. So please make your way to Ballroom 1 if you're outside in the lobby. If you're in the exhibition space, we do want to get started and would love to have you with us. Wherever you are, if you can hear my voice, wherever you are, we're asking you to join us in the ballroom. And ladies and gentlemen, as a second request, for those of us who are already in the room, a quick energizer activity just for us, because you are early and you are special. If you can quickly rise to our feet. Everybody here, please rise to your feet. Please rise to your feet. Please rise to your feet. Ladies and gentlemen in Ballroom 1, quick energizer activity just to say thank you for being on time. Please rise to your feet, loosen up. This is going to be a fun one. It's going to be fantastic, I promise you. It's the best one I have. It's the best one I have. So what we're going to do is, right, if you see a seat in front of you that is empty, what I would love you to do is pick up your bag, take a step to the side, and fill in the seats in front. Again, it's just so that when the mass of people come in, we can give them room to come in without disturbing us. I told you it's a fun one. I told you this is the best energizer activity. So again, we're asking if we can try and fill the seats in front first before we go ahead and fill the ones at the back so that we are all comfortable and we can be cozy and intimate from minute one. And if there are no seats in front of you, you do not have to go to the floor. You may just sit where you are. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, if you are not yet in Ballroom 1, we are asking that you join us in Ballroom 1 so that we can get started with our session. If you're in the exhibition area, if you are in the lobby area outside, if you're still having tea, we ask that you join us in. Thank you. Doo-doo. 1, 2, 1, 2. Testing 1, 2, 2. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Nyevu, for being the only one to shout out loud. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. One more time, just a little bit louder. Only a little bit louder. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Fantastic. I will definitely take that, and I appreciate that. Welcome to a very exciting and insightful session we're going to have, where we're going to be talking about moving data from silos to actual ethical insights. We have a very charged and powerful conversation, and we're happy to be joined by Honorable PS for the State Department for ICT and Digital Economy, Engineer John Tanui. So he will be giving some remarks. We will have a good panel session, and we have a very exciting announcement that's going to be given a little later on. And I won't even tell you who. I'll tell you who. KNBS and Safaricom are going to impress us with something short. However, before we do that, and before I invite our keynote address to the stage, I want us to do a very quick 1-minute energizer. We've been talking about data, and mathematics is the foundation, the technical foundation of data and space and engineering and programming and mathematics and all of that. So this is what we're going to do very quickly. I'm going to ask us all to rise to our feet. Please rise to your feet and pair up with somebody. Pair up with somebody. If there's anybody who is pair up with someone, okay. If there's anybody who is unpaired, let me see who we have. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now I want you to stand back to back. If you do not have a pair from the first row, please join me. We shall be the guinea pig. Brigadier Director General. Okay, aha, he found a pair at the very last minute. Okay, who does not have a pair in the first row? Should we invite our Honorable PS to join us on stage for this demonstration? Yes, no? Honorable, okay, fine, there we go. Okay, our Director General from the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, Dr. Avudo, please join us on stage. So this is going to be a simple, let's give him a round of applause. Although, Jenna, you don't have a pair right now. Jenna, please join as well. Fine, you two, no, please, Jenna, there we go. In fact, we should get 2 pairs of demos. So let's have our Brigadier Director General Hilary Kipkoskei to join us on stage, as well as our keynote address chief guest. All right, let's give them a round of applause. So the activity is very simple. You will stand back to back with your partner, whoever you're paired with, okay? And then let me stand somewhere so the camera, I don't move around too much. There we go. And then it's a simple addition game that we're going to do. You're back to back with your partner. I'm going to count down 3, 2, 1. And then you both turn around and face each other. And using one or both hands, you hold up a number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Each of you will hold up a number with your own hands, and the first person to add up the numbers together and shout out the correct answer is the winner of that little round. Does that make sense? All right? We'll give an example. We'll give an example with Nyevu. Nyevu is here. And we're going to stand back to back. So I'm going to count 3, 2, 1. It's 8. So I shout, I was first, obviously you could hear me. Nyevu, I was first, but that's what you need to do. And it's very important that you jump. There's no turning around, you have to jump. Okay, so please, back to back, everybody, let's do this very quickly. Back to back, back to back, back to back. Okay, are we all ready? Ladies and gentlemen at the Global Data Festival and Kenya Space Expo and Conference, are we all ready? All right, in 3, 2, 1. All right, all right, all right. Hands up, hands up. Hands up if you won that round. Hands up if you won. Some pairs, no hands have gone. Some 2 hands have gone up. Okay, one more time, one more time, one more time, one more time. Now I'm watching the front pair as well. 3, 2, 1. All right, fantastic, fantastic. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. And as a final round, I want us multiplication this time. So multiply the 2 numbers. All right, back to back, let's go. In 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, please give yourselves a round of applause as you take your seats. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Fantastic. Fantastic. Now let's channel that energy. We've stimulated our brains a bit. We've laughed. We've smiled. We are prepped and ready for the conversations we are going to have. And help me, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage the Principal Secretary for the State Department for ICT and the Digital Economy, a true titan of Kenya's ICT industry, both in the private and public sector for almost 20 years now. PS Honorable Engineer John Tanui. Let's give him a round of applause as he comes to the stage and gives us his keynote address. Until he gets here, ladies and gentlemen, until he gets here.
Thank you very much. Our CEO, Global Partnership for Sustainable Development, Ms. Chena Slotin, Director General, Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, Dr. McDonald George, Director General, Kenya Space Agency, Brigadier Hilary Kipkoskei, the board members of KNBS, the international community present here, development partners, our colleagues from private sector, Safaricom, the civil society, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's indeed a great honor to join you this morning at this very important event, the Global Data Festival and Kenya Space Expo, as we explore one of the most important drivers of progress in the digital age. That's enhancing data sharing for impact. Today, data has become a strategic asset that powers decision-making. Many call it data is the new oil. Others say data is actually the truth. And we are told in another conversation we had this morning that actually data is more than oil, because once you use oil, it's exhaustible. But data, it becomes better and better as you use and as you analyze. So it's become critical to economic growth and also for public service delivery. Across governments, businesses, academia, communities, the ability to responsibly share and use data is increasingly determining our capacity to solve complex challenges from healthcare, education, to climate resilience, agriculture, and financial inclusion. Despite the unprecedented growth in the data generation, much of the world's data remains fragmented, inaccessible, and unutilized. Valuable data sets often remain locked within institutional silos, whether private sector or public sector. This limiting their potential to creating public value. The challenges before us is therefore not simply generating more data, but creating trusted mechanisms that can enable data to flow safely, ethically, and effectively across sectors, borders, and even continents. Kenya today hosts one of Africa's most advanced digital backbones. We have ambitious plans to increase the connectivity. We have laid huge fiber infrastructure across Kenya, and we have this ambitious target to ensure we build additional 100,000 kilometers, and together with the private sector, from 2022, we've added close to 40,000 kilometers of fiber. Through the Kenya National Broadband Strategy and the Digital Master Plan 2022 to 2032, we are expanding last mile connectivity so that data is not just available in our urban cities like Nairobi, but in all areas including our far regions like Turkana, Kwale, Marsabit, just to name a few. The Kenya Space Agency, whose work is being showcased here in this expo, is extending also our reach even further using satellite and Earth observation data to inform decisions on agriculture, disaster response, urban planning, and many others. And we had very good conversations earlier on the potential of making this data available. So data sharing is no longer just a technical consideration. It is a developmental imperative. When data is shared responsibly, governments make more informed and evidence-based decisions and policies. Citizens also receive more efficient and personalized public services. Researchers accelerate their scientific discovery and innovation. Businesses unlock new opportunities and improve productivity. We are discussing about how businesses can make precise investment decisions, choice of locations, and even products. Communities also can gain greater visibility into issues affecting their livelihoods and have a better understanding of their situation. Similarly, in addressing world challenges like climate change, food security, disaster response, urban planning, no single institution possesses all the information required. Collaboration through trusted data sharing ecosystems thus becomes very essential. In Kenya, we recognize that data is fundamental for our digital economy. Under the government digital economy blueprint, significant investment and policies have been put in place. We have a digital public infrastructure, the data governance frameworks that we are currently working on. We already have the Data Protection Act. We are also drafting a very key tool, which will be very important with the conversations we're having here. That's the data governance policy. And we invite you to give us your input as we work on this very critical because of the topic we're having today, removing silos and ensuring that data can be shared in a trusted manner. Our vision is to create a trusted digital ecosystem where data can move securely between authorities while protecting individual rights and maintaining the public trust. The Office of the Data Protection Commissioner has the mandate of enforcing the Data Protection Act of 2019. These have strengthened confidence in our personal data collection, how it's processed, how it's stored, and how it's shared. And we are working with partners to enhance this platform. To further cement this public trust on a global scale, I am pleased to report that the EU-Kenya adequacy dialogue is currently at an advanced stage. This vital dialogue seeks the European Union's recognition that Kenya's data protection framework provides an adequate level of protection under the stringent EU data protection regulation, GDPR. Through a multi-agency committee, we have successfully demonstrated to the EU that Kenya possesses constitutionally grounded access mechanisms, independent accountability institutions, and robust judicial oversight structures to safeguard against arbitrary and unlawful surveillance. Subject to the completion of remaining institutional processes, we anticipate that the EU will commence drafting the adequacy decision soon. It's one of the conversations we are looking forward even to have in some of the bilateral discussions which will be taking place between Kenya and EU. This underscores that our frameworks are credible, robust, and ready to facilitate secure cross-border data transfers. And this will be very important, especially for the SMEs of our country who wants to engage with other entities, especially within the EU. At the same time, we continue to advance interoperability initiatives that allow government agencies to exchange information more efficiently, reducing duplication and improving service delivery for our citizens and businesses. Trust is the currency of the data economy. Without trust, citizens will hesitate to share information, Organizations will be reluctant to collaborate, and innovation will actually be constrained. Building trust requires strong governance, having clear policies, standards, and accountability mechanisms to guide data collection, access, sharing, and use. Privacy and security by design, data sharing frameworks must embed privacy, cybersecurity, and ethical safeguards from the onset rather than afterthoughts. Transparency. Individuals and organizations should understand how data is being used, who has access to it, and what benefits arise from its use. Equity and inclusion is key for data ecosystems to ensure that no community is left out. Marginalized populations must be represented in datasets and benefit from data-driven innovation. The future lies in moving from isolated datasets towards collaborative data ecosystem. This includes government-to-government data sharing, which we already encouraging through the various government digital platforms we have in place, eCitizen, the digital health system, and many other coming digital platforms in the government. We're also encouraging public-to-private partnerships, research and innovation collaborations, regional and cross-border data exchanges, including the adequacy decision we are seeking to receive from EU. Community-driven and citizen general data initiatives. We also wish the citizen and the innovation community can be able to access this abundant data in our ecosystems. Emerging models such as data collaboratives, data trust, and federal data sharing architecture provide opportunities to balance innovation with privacy and sovereign concerns. Africa, in particular, has an opportunity to leapfrog national models by designing data ecosystems that are inclusive, interoperable, and fit for our unique context. As AI continues to reshape industries and societies, access to quality data becomes even more critical. AI systems are only as effective as the data that powers them. Responsible data sharing thus is so critical so that it can improve the AI accuracy and fairness, and also reduce the biasness and exclusion that can arise. It will also enable local innovation, support development of local AI solutions, accelerate research and entrepreneurship. However, AI also raises important questions around transparency, accountability, IP, and ethical use of data. Addressing these challenges requires collaboration among governments, industry, academia, and civil society. Ladies and gentlemen, as we gather at this very important Global Data Festival and Kenya Space Expo, I invite all stakeholders to commit to these key priorities to promote interoperable data ecosystems that enable seamless and secure information exchange. Strengthen data governance framework that protects the right while enabling innovation. Invest in data infrastructure and skills to build sustainable data economies. I hope in our conversations we pay more attention to this area about data infrastructure and also ensuring that we focus on the skills. Additionally, we need to foster on cross-sector partnerships that unlocks the value of shared data, and we're looking forward to the collaboration announced here between Safaricom and KNBS, and also ensure that data serves people, creating measurable social and economic impact. Structured frameworks should be established for public-private data collaboration. Some of the richest data sits in private sector, in mobile network, like mobile network operators, in financial institutions and platforms, in the various digital platforms, in logistics system. That data shared responsibly under clear governance terms can serve enormous public good. It can create new enterprises, digital enterprises that can unlock opportunities for jobs and also create new wealth for our country. Our ongoing EU-Kenya adequacy dialogue is going to be a game changer for this exact objective. By aligning our frameworks with international benchmarks like the GDPR, we are not just strengthening public trust, we are unlocking unprecedented economic value for our private sector. This adequacy alignment will eliminate cumbersome legal hurdles for cross-border data flows. And recently, Kenya removed some of the taxes which were there on digital exports, on exports of digital services. Globally, we should aim for data marketplaces that serves all regions. A data exchange platform, one where government, private sector, research institution, and civil society can share, license, and use data transparently rules is what we are seeking forward to. And as we have conversation, public sector and private sector, we look at having a common platform where this data can be exchanged. The true value of data is not found in databases or servers or dashboards. Its value is realized when it improves lives, empowers communities, informs decisions. We are talking about decisions of even schools, where to set up schools, how to relook at our infrastructure to improve commuting, road network. So that's the kind of value that we are looking forward to. The future indeed belongs to societies that can transform data into trust, trust into collaboration, and collaboration into impact. Let us work together to build data ecosystems that are open, where possible protected, where necessary, and beneficial for all. And let's take advantage of the ongoing policy development within the country, the data governance policy that Kenya is developing to ensure we set it as a global benchmark. By enhancing data sharing responsibly, we can accelerate innovation, strengthen governance, advance sustainable development, and create a more inclusive digital future. Finally, let us all know that data that is hoarded, decays, or left unused actually loses value. Data that is shared transforms and creates impact. Thank you very much, and have a great conversation in this important topic. Thank you, and God bless.
Can we please give Honorable Engineer Tanu another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? We've practiced how we should do this. I don't think I've done a reminder yet at the pause. One more time, a round of applause for our Honorable peer. Thank you very much. Again, it's only the front row. Thank you, Esperanza. I heard the loud cheer. And I think our peers shared a few valuable insights. Thank you so much for showing the work that Kenya is doing on a global and national level to improve transparency, accountability, ownership, collaboration, interoperability, and having data policy frameworks that improve lives, empower communities, and guide positive change. Thank you very much for that. And that's a perfect way to segue into the panel discussion that we want to have, and a perfect way for me to segue into introducing the gentleman who is going to guide this, because he oversees the evidence-based enabling of policies and programs for micro, small, and medium enterprises and startups. The managing director of VIFA Consult, Victor Otieno, is going to come and lead us on a discussion on how we can move from data silos to ethical insights and balance value and privacy. Ladies and gentlemen, with the loudest round of applause, can we welcome Victor to the stage? Woo! Round of applause for Victor!
Thank you so much. Probably just to start with an African proverb. PS has indicated that transparency and trust is very important. So probably for those of you who've heard the proverb, please bear with me. So this is an African proverb. So he who peels groundnuts for a blind man must keep whistling to prove he is not eating the groundnuts. So you can ponder about that. So the conversation is around trust, is around transparency. Data is very sensitive. So this, if you forget anything, please remember the proverb. So again, the conversation here is around data, and data has been said is a new gold, is a new oil. And here, of course, is just being able to explore how we can be able to use trusted data for development. So in Kenya, we have a big challenge of poverty. KNBS has given us statistics that we have upwards of a poverty rate of upwards of 30%. We have over 1 million young graduates who enter the labor market and are seeking economic opportunities, and they're not able to. So I think data, whether it's AI data or Earth observation data, is important to be able to unlock development. And when we talk about development, it has to be very practical to us. It's very easy to talk about development generally for the sake of it, but again, here is very practical. We have actual challenges of jobs, of poverty that probably, if we're able to share data as different institutions, then probably we can be able to unlock potential. Good case that I have, I think, top of mind is, I think the World Meteorological Organization has said that, or has given us a warning that we have 90% probability of El Nino taking place across the world, and in Kenya we expect floods. Of course, that is a challenge that is coming, but again, you just using Earth observation data and other types of data, it means that we can be able to prepare for this particular engagement. Anyway, so I have a very powerful panel that is going to help us unpack this conversation. So probably I can just request our panelists to just walk on stage. We have with us Sharon Holly from Safaricom. We can clap for her as she comes. Karibu sana. Esperance Magpante, from ITU. I hope I've not massacred the name. Karibu sana. Josh Powell, all the way from DC. Karibu sana. Then we have Abbas Jah from the World Bank. Karibu. So as they settle in, probably I can just start, maybe just as an icebreaker. Of course, just giving us a background about yourself, but most importantly, your favorite food, favorite animal, and why.
Hi, everybody. My name is Sharon Holly. I work in privacy at Safaricom. I've had a long career in risk management and compliance. A little bit about myself. My favorite food, I want to say today tacos, because I can pretend to eat a little, but maybe eat a few more. And animal is a peacock, because they're so beautiful and vibrant. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm Esperanza Magpantay. I wear 3 hats. First, I'm a senior statistician in the International Telecommunication Union, a UN specialized agency. And the second hat is I'm also chairing the UN Committee of Experts on Big Data and Data Science for Official Statistics, specifically the mobile phone task team. So today I'll be wearing that hat in my interventions. And then a third hat, I co-lead the ITU World Bank Global Data Facility Initiative on the use of mobile phone data. So with regards to food, you can see I'm Asian, so I have to say I love Japanese food. And with regards to the animal, I love my dog, which is an American bully. And you can imagine, you know, a very sturdy looking dog, but underneath it's a teddy bear. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Josh Powell. I'm the CEO of Development Gateway and IREX Venture, and also Vice President for Digital at IREX. My favorite food, I think, would have to be a good Sunday roast, because you put it in the oven, it goes all day, and your home smells like love all day. And then I'm a father of a 4-year-old and an 8-year-old, so I get asked about my favorite animal a lot. So of all the questions that I'm asked today, this is the one that I'm most prepared for. So my favorite animal is a North American beaver, and the reason is it doesn't just accept the world that's presented to it, it shapes its own ecosystem and the ecosystem of everything around it.
Hi, everyone. Is this working? Yeah, now it's working. Hi, I'm Abbas Jah. I'm the World Bank manager for urban development for Africa East and South. My favorite food is Greek yogurt, because it's packed with protein and you get really good Greek yogurt in Nairobi. And my favorite animal is the elephant, because it has a long memory, it never forgets.
That's wonderful. For Kenyans who are waiting for mena and githeri as favorite food, please. We are in an international forum, please. So I mean, just to start us off, again, of course, all of you are coming from different organizations. You've been able to interact with different countries, and of course, either from a farm level, just been able to engage around data, whether it's AI data, Earth observation data, whatever data it is. So probably you can just start. What are your reflections in terms of global best practices around what you've seen, either private sector to private sector or government to private sector collaboration that has led to development in any either country or the workplace that you have? So we can just start.
Great. I think for any collaboration, you have to have a common sense of purpose. What problem are we trying to come together to solve? When it comes to the data ecosystem, it's like a huge jigsaw. Each of us has a piece, and we have a responsibility to put the picture together for us to be able to solve the problem. We've talked about privacy and the role of data protection. Both the Kenyan laws under the Data Protection Act and as well as the global laws make sure that we then protect the rights of the individuals so that no personal information is shared, and so trust can be built in the system. And that, I believe, is some of the building blocks that we need in place, layering on top of the technology and the goodwill to make sure that we come out with a working premise.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much for that question. So I can share two lessons with regards to working together and partnerships. So first, at the international level, we have this UN Committee of Experts, particularly on the use of mobile phone data. And the big, I would say, contribution out of this is avoiding duplication and efficient use of resources. So in this task team, what we do is we discuss, we collaborate to come up with methodologies and guidance that would help countries in the use of mobile phone data. And using those methodologies and guidance, we implement. So implementation comes with, of course, resources, and through this global initiative that we have with the World Bank on the GDF funded initiative, we are able now to implement in several countries of the world. And this initiative is now present in Africa and all our other regions of the world. And so this efficient use of resources, we don't duplicate, but rather we collaborate to make sure that we can build capacity, we can work with countries, and we can make sure that all our efforts go into good use and make sure that the countries benefit from them. At the country level, implementing mobile phone initiatives is a huge task. I think the Permanent Secretary has already alluded to some of the key challenges that there are, including trust, governance, skills, and resources, financial resources. And you can only achieve or address all of that if you put all stakeholders around the table, whether it's government agencies, sector ministries, the private sector, data protection agency, international experts, international organizations. So if you have everyone around the table, you can address all these challenges, and that will enable success in implementing these projects. So that's my quick reaction to that question. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll maybe start by echoing some of what Sharon shared in terms of really starting with the problem and shared purpose. And I think it's very important to be specific about problem definition. I think very often where we see initiative struggle is where the problem definition is, we need better sharing, and then you say, okay, why? And you say, oh, for better agricultural development. And that's fine, but it's probably not specific enough to generate action. Where we see more success is we need better data sharing because we need to drive down the cost and increase the availability of quality fertilizer for smallholder farmers at the right moment in the planting season. Or we need better data and shared data so that we can determine the appropriate excise tax structure for tobacco and cigarettes. Those types of kind of really specific, questions and problems, and that can start to then galvanize. And I think that starts with a very kind of consultative process And most of our work, we tend to kind of orient that process around government first. What are the policy priorities and objectives, and then bring in, in that process, civil society, academia, and others. And I think you can see tremendous success. And the other piece to that is that you have a built-in user for that when you are successful in creating data sharing. So here in Kenya, for example, the Presidential Economic Transformation Secretariat shared with us that every year before they designed their $100 million fertilizer and input subsidy program, they consult the data that we had worked with a number of different partners, both government, private sector, academia, et cetera, to define how do they approach that. In Zambia and Nigeria, when they've been reviewing excise tax approaches for tobacco products, similarly looking at quite a bit of academic data in particular, but all starting with the question of what do you need to know and why do you need to know it?
So thank you very much for that question, and I want to really build on all what my previous panelists have said, and I agree with all the points made. And I think the lesson we've learned is that the biggest barrier to data sharing is a lack of trust. And I guess the line I would like to leave with you is that data doesn't get stuck on servers, it gets stuck in institutions. And often that is driven by a variety of reasons. It's often turf. I don't want to share my data with you. But it's also, just political economy or privacy concerns, and there are numerous things that hold it back. And I do want to underline the fact that this is not an easy task. And I lived in Singapore for 10 years. And I think Singapore exemplifies best practice in many ways in terms of data sharing. And if we have time, we can talk about their API exchange with this setup, which is a very beautiful public and private partnership. But that took them, well close to a decade to set that up. And the fact is that ministries and agencies do not want to share data. So typically you want to pitch it at a very high level. So, the Prime Minister's office or the President's office should be leading this initiative, in my judgment. Thanks.
Maybe just, because you mentioned something that is very important, and I think maybe probably just to draw out, just focusing on Singapore. What are those top-level lessons that you think we can be able to pick? You mentioned that it has to come from top leadership or buy-in from top political leadership. What other lessons do you think can? Because that's a great example of a country that is harnessing data. Can you maybe top 5?
I mean, there are several that I could point to, but let me just take a few. Right here in Africa, Togo stands out. They had the No VC program during COVID, where very rapidly about 500,000 people were targeted for social safety net payments, and they were able to use satellite imagery and mobile phone data to target and very effectively transfer it. And what is remarkable about that program is that it was on 2G. It was not on smartphones. It was on 2G technology. So again, building on what our panelists said, sometimes we get really caught up with the technology and the next shiny new thing. But you really need to start with the problem definition first, and then sort of build the solution around that. And the solution has to be appropriate to the context in which you're operating. So that I think that is a good example. Estonia, of course, is kind of the poster child for e-government, and they have this program called Crossroads. It's written X Road, but it's called Crossroads. And essentially it's their e-government platform. And one of the principles they operate on is, I think it's called One Touch, which is that if a citizen provides data once, you're never going to be asked again for it. And that reduces the friction a lot in terms of sort of operation. But again, sort of pulling back and sort of what is the big lesson? I think you need to start with a clear problem or a pain point, and then design your solution around that. Yeah.
Josh, go for it.
I want to build a little bit on, I think the point on senior leadership and political leadership is really important, but one of the things you often run into is that leaders change, sometimes too quickly, sometimes not quickly enough. And you have to be able to address things at all levels. And so I think once you have that top level leadership, really being able to build into the bureaucracy, because I think bureaucracies are built with quite a few white blood cells. They're very, very good at rejecting things that they don't want to do, that they're not incentivized to do, that aren't aligned with their own kind of processes and their own workflows. And so I think it's really critical to make sure that you're kind of attacking the issue at all of those levels, both because that helps you to move quickly, but also because, and we've seen this time and time again, that the systems that, or the data sharing agreements, et cetera, that we've had that are still in a place 5 or 10 years after we've left the country and the program has ended, are the ones where the bureaucracy itself sees the value in, and ultimately are the ones selling back, you know, when a new PS comes in, when a new minister comes in, and making sure that it's on the political agenda.
Yeah, Sharon, we talk about trust as a big issue. Maybe from your own reflections from Safaricom, what do you think, how do we practically build trust? Of course, we can have legislation, Data Protection Act, and all these, agreements. Outside of writing things on paper, either in terms of legislation, etc., are there any mechanisms, frameworks that you think, or just action that you think can be able to build trust ultimately so that we can get this data out to entrepreneurs for them to be able to innovate?
Trust is a huge component, and I think if you think about your personal relationships, how do you build trust? You need to see it, you need to feel it, you need to touch it. And one of the things that we've been really focusing on as an organization is, whilst we've got all the paperwork in place, whilst our terms and conditions are solid, whilst our contracts are good, and our technical safeguards are good, are we talking enough about how we take care of you? And that's an area that I think is really important as you build your profile of who am I, can I trust you? Do you give me a reason to believe? I like to call it a reason to believe. Can I see that when I use M-Pesa that you don't share all the names across to the other person? And we recently launched data minimization on P2P, which came from a customer insight as well, where people said they didn't like when they were making mobile payments, that person later contacted them and asked for more money or things like this. Yeah, they said, we just wanted to do the one transaction. So you need to be able to, I believe, trust is give your customers a reason to believe, make sure it's built into your customer journeys, make sure you can see it come alive when they interact with you as an organization or your processes, and also listen out for feedback from your customers and look to proactively address the concerns that are being raised.
Sorry, could I just, I don't want to interrupt, but can
No
I just
worries.
build on, just so, on this issue of how do you build trust, I think one of the more interesting innovations is this privacy by design architecture. So trust should not depend on that you and I are friends, but it should just be built into the structure. And I think one good example of that is India's biometric system called Aadhaar, where the whole structure was designed around privacy. So even if I give you unlike say the US social security number, if you have my US social security number, you can do a lot of damage. If you have my Aadhaar number, it really doesn't matter. So I think we need to kind of design systems around privacy. And I think Africa has a great opportunity because as we speak, many of these systems are being designed. So we can really influence that.
Yeah, so privacy by design. Yes, friends.
Exactly. I wanted to say the same thing because that applies exactly on how we implement mobile phone projects. So privacy by design is indeed a key component, starting, of course, with the methods, privacy-preserving techniques, technologies, and related to methodologies to make sure that anonymization of the data is there, to make sure that you don't release information even at the aggregated level that can pinpoint back to individuals. And those methodologies that are being used currently in the projects, in the initiatives that we are implementing, make sure that this privacy component is respected for the individuals to be trusting that their data are being used responsibly and for public good. We are currently developing a mobile phone data governance framework where the strategic, the legal, and the technological component of using mobile phone data will be addressing trust as the main key component that is important for these projects to succeed in countries.
Yeah, I think in thinking of trust and maybe looking a bit less of kind of trust in end users or society with systems and more between users in data sharing, I think about a combination of competence, verifiability, and altruism or neutrality. And so, a good example of this in the way that we've thought about this in Nigeria in a public-private data sharing, again in the agriculture sector, is really engaging with 10 of the top, fertilizer suppliers together with the ministry and really identifying, where was their benefit. So again, starting with that problem, but then even once everyone agreed, there's still concerns about commercial sensitivity, there's still concerns about their competitors getting access to information. And so then structuring a governance process that's very clear and transparent and verifiable, having a trusted intermediary where there's a feeling of competence, and then feeling that there's a shared goal, a neutrality or an altruism there, and benefit to everyone. I think those combinations are really what initiate trust. And then I think, to the point of then trust has to be something that you can see and feel. Even if it's in there by design, many people won't immediately trust that that's the case. And that is then kind of reinforced or violated over time, depending on how it's implemented.
Yeah, so maybe shifting gears in terms of, because the conversation is data for development. Are there very practical use cases that you know of, or either you've experienced of, maybe read of, that we've seen data being shared and entrepreneurs accessing that data and using it either to innovate or do something around it, whether it's government data or just from where you sit? I don't know, Sharon.
We were just discussing with our director in charge of sustainability. We refer a lot to the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics data when we look at how we structure our foundation programs, where to focus our efforts, and that at a macro level in Kenya has helped us significantly innovating and focusing on our giving back programs. Yeah.
Again, I'm wearing the mobile phone hat. So globally, we see many countries now where mobile phone data is used as an important data source for national statistics offices. And this can only be achieved through established partnership between the operators, the National Statistics Office, the telecom regulators and ministries and data protection agencies. And these are happening in many countries, even in Asia, in Africa. There were a number of countries who are already benefiting from these partnerships. I would like to name a few, but I don't want to put them on the spotlight. We had a session yesterday where Botswana, Ghana, Gambia, and other countries, Kenya, who will be making an announcement very soon, are some of the success stories that we have from this region. In Asia, there's Kazakhstan, there's Mongolia. In Latin America, it's everywhere. So we have seen an explosion on the use of mobile phone data because partnerships enable them. Thank you.
Yeah, I think one of the kind of innovations that's maybe on the surface not as exciting, but you don't see a lot of intra-government data sharing and collaboration across ministries. And so, and again, I think this comes back to a great example of one where it's something we worked on a number of years ago, and then you come back and you still see it operating. So in Senegal, probably 7 or 8 years ago, we worked with ANACIM, which is the meteorological agency, and the Ministry of Agriculture to support data sharing for early forecasting and for weather information for the ministry to make its decisions around inputs and so forth. We kind of left, and a number of years came back and found that not only 5 or 6 years later, not only were they still using that, but they actually had kind of expanded on it and built out new and additional tools. Similarly, in Ethiopia right now, we've been working in the livestock sector and looking at collaboration across the Ministry of Agriculture, yes, but also the Statistics Service, the Ministry of Trade and Regional Integration, and a kind of parastatal livestock development institute. And each of those coming together, agreeing to share data and actually agreeing on a data standard where they're able to make the data fully interoperable. And so now that's unlocking a lot of use around, for example, disease-free zones for export, vaccination campaigns, financial inclusion, and it then kind of starts to lead to what else can we bring into the equation, what private sector data can we bring in, and it's really building quite a bit of momentum.
So the example I would build on is, it kind of goes back to the issue of high-level commitment. So it's, again, in Singapore, they have the digital ID system called SingPass, and related to that is a consent-based verification system called MyInfo. And they have found that because of MyInfo, the KYC, the Know Your Customer process by banks, has been completely automated. And so for each KYC, you save $50 per transaction. That's a significant amount. The reason I'm citing this is that you need to build a coalition of support around these sort of data sharing protocols, and the private sector is a very big part of it. So if you can bring the private sector in saying, hey, this system will save you $50 per transaction, they're going to be firmly behind it. So I think that's one good example I would share.
Yeah, so as we are wrapping up, of course we can be able to talk the whole day. Probably just to bring it home, are there partnerships that you're looking forward to around data sharing, just from where you sit as you give your parting shots? Because we can talk, but again, you can fly. I was telling Josh, you can fly in, go up, go back, but without practical, meaningful partnerships that you're looking forward to, then probably we just have wasted saliva. Are there things that you, maybe from your reflection, of course I'm putting you on the spot, but are there organizations that you would want to collaborate with around data sharing, especially in Kenya, because of course we're in Kenya and we're in Nairobi. If not Kenya, then probably in Africa, that you think can help move this conversation forward?
I think top of my head, I would talk about the initiatives with the Ministry of ICT and under data governance, because a big component of data sharing is trust and having the right frameworks in place. And the legislation that's coming through will help us as a country have a safe space in which to share and utilize that data across sectors.
I'm a bit ambitious. It's not just specific organizations, but I would like to see many countries, not just in this region, but globally, to be putting together internal partnerships within the country where all the stakeholders on the area, for example, I came from ICT statistics. So in this area, we need all the stakeholders to work together in the country to make sure that they can produce the data. The permanent secretary mention about the lack of connectivity in certain areas of the country, and you can only pinpoint who are those people who are not connected if the stakeholders are talking to each other, making sure that data gets access, that the stakeholders provide the necessary information so that they can combine the data. The National Statistics Office, for example, collects data using household surveys on finding out which part of the population are not connected with regards to age, gender, their location where they use the internet. But you also need data that will enable frequent, timely, granular information. And this is where mobile phone data could come in. So from the sector where I am in, all the stakeholders in the country are important to be sitting together and discussing how they can complement each other and how they can also help other sectors, whether it's tourism, migration, or disaster management. All these data sources will be enabling other sectors to make sure that they can make their decisions based on solid data and timely data. Thank you.
I think to me the most exciting partnerships are the ones that kind of dispel the myth of sectoral silos and that kind of recognize the complexity of the world and of development challenges that we're facing. And so just two to really highlight, one that already exists, the World Meteorological Organization and WHO collaboration around climate and health, and then driving that down to a country level and getting meteorological agencies, but also private sector, imagery and meteorological data into ministries of health. Also bridging between ministries of agriculture and ministries of health around the One Health agenda and thinking about zoonotic diseases, and being able to really get ahead of those. And so I think the more and more we can think about the interconnectedness of elements that have been for so long kind of treated as siloed issues, the more exciting the combinations of data and the more complex it becomes.
So on this question of partnership, I want to say two things. One is that partnerships are successful when you are sort of coming around a common shared problem. And often after disasters, that happens a lot. And I want to give a shout out to our friends from Humanitarian OpenStreetMap here, who have done amazing work with the World Bank and with many other agencies on sort of co-creating data using the population and the public. And one of the good examples is after the Haiti earthquake, where we realized that most of the structures in Haiti were not mapped, and we were able to rapidly do so with the help of our friends from OpenStreetMap. And I had a second point, but I've forgotten it. So
it's good. So thank you so much. I think that's been our time, ladies and gentlemen. We have Sharon Holly from Safaricom, Esperance from ITU, Josh Powell from Development Gateway, as well as Abbas from World Bank. So that has been your time. Our time probably would have maybe loved to take a few questions, but again, because of time, we would beg to stop there. Again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for such an engaging conversation. Asante sana.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we give them another round of applause with a few more whoos and whas? Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Victor, and the entire team for that very, very engaging discussion. As they smile for the photo, we want to, I think it's a perfect way to segue from that of what we should be doing to remove the silos and share data in a way that is fair and just, and to move into a special little announcement and collaborative announcement that we are going to have. I, of course, will not be making the announcement. There are two individuals who are going to come and share a little something special that I think is a sign of how we're going to move forward. Ladies and gentlemen, you have heard him speak already. However, he has not yet received a round of applause as loud as the one we are about to give him. Please help me welcome to the stage the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, my mouth got stuck on that. The Kenya National Bureau of Statistics Director General, Dr. Obudo, as he comes and gives us a few remarks. Until he gets here.
To our, is it on really? I'm not sure. Okay, so to our chief guest, our PS engineer Tanui, who is with us here, to my co-chairs for this event, we have Brig Hillary, DG Kenya Space Agency, the CEO of the GPSDG, Madam Jenna Slotin, all our guests, and today we also have our colleagues from Safaricom joining us here. We welcome you and appreciate you to be part of us today. All the colleagues, good afternoon. Yeah, so I stand before you here at this point to just say a few words, and they are words that we feel are very important to us. But first, as I do that, I would like to congratulate the young man, Victor. Victor, who has just moderated the last session here, happens to be a son of my former colleague in the Bureau. So Victor is a product of Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. In fact, the funds that took him to school for him to be here came from the Bureau, and also through the loans from Hazina Sacco, where the mother was in. and I'm part of that. I'm very excited, really. When you have a young man getting to this point and able to scale up his game to the international level, so you appreciate that. So we appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Good. Now, mine is to be very delighted this afternoon because today we'll confirm the partnership that the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics is having with Safaricom on insights into the use of mobile data, mobile phone data for statistical purposes. In the whole discussions that we have been having, there has been a lot of the need to partner, a lot of the need to share information, a lot of the need to really leverage technology. And of course, then the element of the big data comes in. And so we are getting into it just in a moment. Many NSOs have really been struggling to get the mobile network, get engaged with the mobile network operators, that is the telcos generally. But that has not been very easy. Even for us, we have made the attempts a number of times, but that does not work for us until when the Global Partnership for Sustainable Development Data, GPSDD, came in about 5 years ago to support us. So you can imagine how long that has taken for us to really get there. We were also working with the Flowminder Foundation, and in fact, just as I was seated there 18 minutes after noon, I got a message from the director in charge of partnership at the Flowminder, giving me congratulations, meaning that she has heard of something. I think word moves very fast. Yeah, so in 2016, Kenya happened to have been between 2016 and 2018, Kenya was chosen from Africa to be among 6 countries that were identified by the International Telecommunications Union to be a pilot project on big data for measuring information society. The other countries that were involved in this are the United Arab Emirates, Georgia, Colombia, South Korea, and Philippines. The verdict of that was that Kenya was really ready. It was confirmed that Kenya was really ready to use the mobile phone data. And from there, we got support from the World Bank in 2024, where Kenya was selected to be among the first cohort in the World Bank Global Data Facility on putting mobile phone data to work for policy. And so as we are getting to this journey, we noted again that there are a number of countries that have also made very good steps to achieving this. One of the countries is actually Ghana, that even yesterday afternoon we had a very good discussion on the same topic. And Kazakhstan was also used as a very good example, and in fact, on the stage here, you must have heard that being mentioned. Estonia has also done very well. In fact, the presenter yesterday is coming from Estonia. And I remember in the last UN meeting that we had, the STRATCOM, the DG of NSO Mongolia made a very good presentation. I really appreciated that. I still appreciate it. And going forward, I would really want to grow to that level as a country, Kenya, not as Ubudho, the person. And so it is something that we are really going to ensure that we fast-track our processes and get there. So, ladies and gentlemen, the big news that I have while standing here, and as a smile, because I have to smile on this, is that on 4th of May, 2026, I appended my signature to an MOU that KNBS has signed with Safaricom to get data that will now help us get to the space of use of mobile phone data. You will really clap for us because that is not mean achievement, because 5 years down the line, we are now there. And ladies and gentlemen, we had to wait for this moment so that we gather the world together to witness how we walk into this space in style. And that's what we are going to demonstrate today before you, that we have indeed done it. And our next journey is now to fast-track our processes to get closer to the countries that have had it before. And Kenya has the potential of moving into that space very fast. We are ready to get there. So as I conclude, mine is to thank the Safaricom that has given us the chance to undertake this. There are many things that we had to do, and a lot of element of security of information that has to be guarded. Thank God, even in KNBS, we have the confidentiality requirement that we have to conform to. That is applicable to all the NSOs. Thank you so much, the GPSDD, for ensuring that you gave the linkage that successfully took us there. And Madam Jenna Slotin, thank you so much, together with your team, for ensuring that we are here. I will not forget the Flominder that I've mentioned, because they have also walked the journey with us, tried the much possible to ensure that it happens. And of course, we have the ONS, the Office of the National Statistics UK, that has also been urging us and has also good ideas of how we can use some of this information. In fact, I'll just go back a bit to demonstrate to you one thing that would be very helpful when it comes to the use of mobile phone data. Our censuses, and generally world over, is a de facto kind of census, meaning that you are counted as per where you spent the last night, that night of the census day. And so that gives the population basically at night, at your usual residence. But then, I look at Nairobi, which recorded a population of 4.41 million people in 2019. Today, of course, that population has grown, but that was a night population. Now, look at the day population. We have what we call the bedroom for Nairobi, being Kiambu, being Machakos, being Kajiado. These people, majority of them, live outside the boundaries of Nairobi, but they come to work in Nairobi. With just a few exemptions of those who are going outside Nairobi to do their work and come back. When you talk of data, when you talk of statistics, it is meant to help provide services to the people. And so the kind of services that we are talking about cannot be provided in full if you do not know the number that you are providing for. And so getting the day population will be very important, and this is one of the things that we would want to use this information to provide us with, so that we get to know the day population for Nairobi. And that is not limited to even helping us with the traffic jam that we are witnessing. Which roads are having what, and to what scale, what is coming in, what is going out, and that would also help us in even designing our roads, and many, many other uses that we'll have, including emergencies whenever they occur. You can tell how quickly people can run away from the areas where they were at a given time when there's an issue. And so I'm a very happy man today on behalf of Kenya National Bureau of Statistics that we have gotten to this space. Let me stop at this point. I'm told my time is up, and thank you so much. We'll be guided on what to do next. Thank you.
Can we give Dr. Obudu another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? A bit louder. This is an exciting collaboration, MOU. Thank you so much, Daktari. It makes sense why we have 4.1 million sleeping in Nairobi, but traffic feels like 44 million. Any of you who are in Nairobi know that, know how we struggle with that. This is obviously one signature on the MOU, and we'd love to hear from somebody who has put their signature on the other half of the MOU. Ladies and gentlemen, her role is actually apt for the sort of data sharing we are talking about, because she is the Director, Sustainability and Shared Value at Safaricom. Ladies and gentlemen, with a massive round of applause, help me welcome to the stage Ms. Karen Bassier to give a few short remarks. Thank you, the Safaricom team. I want everybody to be as loud as them. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Honorable Engineer John Tanui, PS ICT and Digital Economy, Dr. McDonald Obudo, Director General, Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, Brigadier Hilary Kosgei, DG, Kenya Space Agency, Dr. Matthew Olomide, DG, National Space Research and Development Agency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I just want to say I'm honored to be here. And as I was listening to the panel on data silos to ethical insights, balancing value and privacy, I was reminded of a fundamental question that we all must confront in sharing data. How do we unlock the value of data while protecting the people behind that data? Because today we live in a world that is defined by data, clicks, transactions, and increasingly a world led by AI. A world where our customers and other customers expect better, personalized, intuitive services. In this world, data is no longer an asset, but a critical component for development, innovation, and inclusion. At Safaricom, we believe in data for good. And data for good to expand opportunity, drive inclusion, and to transform lives. In Africa, we love giving stories. So I'm going to share with you a story on this. So 20 years ago, we piloted a product to help a group of women do microfinance loan payment just here in Thika. The idea was to allow them to pay their loans via the mobile money. And when we started observing the trends and the data told us something more. The people are not only using this platform to repay the loans, but they were using it to send money to each other. So turning M-Pesa into a digital wallet. These insights ultimately shaped our strategy around M-Pesa and fintech. So as the adoption grew, we identified another gap. Payments meant for businesses were being paid to individual wallets. So this led to the creation of Lipa na M-Pesa, the tills, and the pay bill. In 2012, we had improved the financial inclusion in Kenya. It had risen to almost 75%, and 32.7% of Kenyans had bank accounts. So this meant that only two-thirds of the adult population did not have access to basic savings and credit facilities. This was another data insight point, and this led to the launch of M-Shwari. So this is a bank account that You did not require additional documents or physical access, but you could borrow and pay via M-Shwari and KCB M-Pesa. In 2019, the data gave another interesting insight. So many failed transactions due to insufficient funds. You'd be at the till, you want to complete paying something, you have 10,000 shillings, and if you had 10,500, you would have paid that for that service or for that good. So we created Fuliza. Fuliza is a Swahili word that means, I think, blow. Direct translation. But Fuliza was to help you get to the end of your transaction. So this is what data for good looks like. Turning friction into opportunity, failed transactions into financial empowerment, and today, over 40 million customers use M-Pesa monthly, 40 million stories of impact. I'm sure if you walk out here, ask anyone about M-Pesa, they will tell you that they no longer need to queue outside any of the bus stations to get money to the villages. It is now instant. The downside is now we can no longer avoid the spirit of Harambes. So we have to contribute because everyone knows you don't have to come for the fundraiser, just send via M-Pesa. So Kenya has over 90% mobile phone penetration with 50% smartphone usage. We are the largest users of digital tools like ChatGPT. We have a thriving crypto market. Anyone here tried fighting Kenyans on X now? You will meet our wrath there. So we are very, very good in the digital space. So we have almost 500,000 active investors when we launched when we partnered with the Nairobi Stock Exchange and the Securities Exchange and the Capital Markets Authority, because we wanted to break the barriers to access to capital markets. So now we have 500 active investors accounting for 60% of the daily trade at the Nairobi Stock Exchange. So this is the power of leveraging tech, insights, and collaboration for impact. We are moving from understanding behavior to predicting needs and delivering intuitive customer service. I love that we had a good conversation on privacy and trust because none of this would be possible without trust. At Safaricom, trust is not a byproduct, it's the foundation. We operate within the framework of Kenya's Data Protection Act, ensuring customer data is collected, processed, and protected responsibly. We embed privacy by design. And I had the discussion here on embedding privacy by design. We prioritize anonymization and data minimization to ensure innovation never comes at the expense of the individual's rights. This is demonstrated by the journey of data minimization in M-Pesa ecosystem. My colleague talked about it, where we've encrypted to reduce personal data exposure to fraud and misuse. And I think last year we did win an award on data privacy by the British Standards Institute, or one of the institutes, just to show that indeed privacy by design. Data, when used responsibly, is a powerful tool for expanding inclusion. And I cannot stress this any more than everyone who's been here and everyone who's talked about it. It strengthens economies, enables smarter policy for shared prosperity. But one institution, as Safaricom or as the Kenya Bureau of Standards or the Global Data, we cannot do this alone. That is why this partnership that we are starting with the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics is critical to harnessing mobile data insights for national development. Let this be our collective call to use data, not just to inform, but to transform. In Safaricom, we are working towards being Africa's leading purpose-led technology company by 2030, and this transformation and these kind of partnerships will play a big role in transforming us into Africa's leading purpose-led technology company. Because when you design with people in mind, protect their data and information, innovation becomes inclusive. Trust is built and lives are transformed. So we're excited about this partnership. And earlier on in the holding room, I was telling the Director General that as a foundation, if I speak on behalf of the foundation, we have always gone to look for data from the National Bureau of Statistics. We look at the Kenya population data, the health data, and this is the data that advises where we invest as a foundation. Therefore, we are grateful to be here and excited to be part and parcel of this momentous initiative, and we look forward to a great collaboration. Asanteni sana. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. A round of applause. And Karen, I'm going to ask if you can remain on stage. I'm going to invite our Honorable PS as well, Engineer Tanui, if you can join them on stage, as well as the Director General for the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. We have a small photo with a certificate that commemorates this MOU and the shared value that we can expect between Safaricom and KNBS. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the certificate to the stage as well. There we go, there we go. There we go, and you can see what it says on screen. Let's give Jenna and Brigadier Kipkoskei a round of applause as well. CEO for GPSDD and Director General. Of course, the certificate commemorates the signing of an MOU between Safaricom and the KNBS today at the Global Data Festival in the Kenya Space Expo and Conference. They are affirming their commitment to leveraging data, insights, connectivity, and intelligence to drive innovation, strengthen resilience, and create sustainable value for Kenya. Ladies and gentlemen, can we give them another round of applause? Thank you so much, Karen and DG, for underscoring how important it is that there's also trust in this shared value that we are giving. And I also want to really, I'm impressed at the restraint that DG, Jenna have shown. They've been working on this for 5 years. It was signed on the 4th of May, and they waited an entire 30 days to come and share it with us. I would have told everybody immediately, and there'd have been no surprise. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for that, and for what we can hope to see going forward with this incredible MOU and partnership. Fantastic. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are about to head in for lunch, but I just had a small activity that should take us about 35 minutes or so, so please stay comfortable. Thereafter, there's a small speech of half an hour. I am joking. We do need to break for lunch, and after lunch, we shall be going to our respective breakout rooms. Please, I'm urging you, if you have the Zoho Backstage app, please use it to find out which sessions are happening. For example, in this room at 2 p.m., Women Driving Resilience and Innovation Partnerships in Data and Space is there'll be a plenary on that. There'll be multiple plenaries. Please go ahead, have your lunch break, freshen up. 2 p.m. sharp, everything is going to resume. And if you do find time, which you will, visit the booths, 8th floor, Safari from Afari, Innovation, Inclusion Pavilion, our data walls, engagement walls. There's a lot going on over the last 2 or 3 days, and there is more still to come. So thank you so much for your time. Give yourselves a round of applause as you make your way